Man, listen. You know what? Shout out first of all to Top Cats. I'm pretty sure other people um may have streamed this. I don't know. This is the first video I come across where I'm actually hearing, or it's the first video I came across and I clicked on it. I don't know. I watched Michi X last night. Shout out to Michi X. For whatever reason, Michi X was doing a video about Polight. And I'm like, huh? Okay. So I click on it and it was a very emotional video. And she shared a lot of stuff. And, I just want to say shout out to Michi for being open, as open as she has been. And she shared some things that I absolutely know was difficult for her to share, including things about her family and stuff like that. But, it's been past time to stop keeping these things silent because they are detrimental to the well-being of anyone. And these are things that you hold on to because you don't have the safety net of being able to tell it to anybody and then be accepted. And you got to go watch her video. She talked about Krishan Rock nephew coming out with some things, and I went and looked at that because I never heard of that, and it was more than I was ready for. This is a young man who came out, and his mother also came out after him because they, Krishan Rock and Blueface, they have these reality shows, and the young man claims that they were bringing up him and abuse that they had did to him in the show. And he began to start speaking his truth, which is very bad. Y'all know Krishan Rock has like 12 siblings, and she also has a father that, according to, what they're saying, he was not necessarily there. The nephew of Krishan Rock, who's in his 20s now, he's like 25, but he was saying that when he was very young, I believe starting like around 7, his aunts would be Krishan Rock's sisters, did a lot of filthy things to him, and he went into detail, right? And he also said they had males doing a lot of filthy things to him. And this is something this young man spoke online. And you could see the trauma in him and the damage in him. And then there was his mother, and she came out and she was talking about people, or, even the family trying to say it wasn't true and things like that. And she talked about how traumatized he was, while her and her son was trying to say, basically they're good now or they're over it and whatever. But that's not true, because she's also talking about how when he get drunk, every time he gets drunk, which I'm assuming is often, because of the trauma, she has to hear about that. Now, where was she at? She was in prison for some time. This was a while ago, and I was just shocked to see all of that being spilled out online like that, in such a, dramatic way. And the ones who he's accusing, some of them are with, Krishan here and there, and they're her reality shows, and they're getting fame. And, y'all got to go check out that young man and what he's saying. And the whole time they've done all these things to him, and, I definitely believe him. This is too common. And if you listen to that live, I don't know what day it was she did it, but it probably was like around the time that this came out, because I didn't even know he had went back to trial and everything, Polight. She was talking about, damage that these type of activities do to the victims, and they're not just female victims, they're male victims as well. And a lot of times these victims turn out to be offenders for whatever reason. If you're not getting help, if you're not, especially if it was suppressed, you didn't have nobody to talk to, tell, protect you, sometimes that can create a type of mentality that leads you to become an offender yourself, even though you were offended. Nobody should be bashed for telling their truth, threatened, or made to feel bad for telling their truth. Or nobody should even be ashamed of what somebody else chose to do to you. That is very invasive. It causes real damage, even if we don't even consciously realize that the damages that it causes affect you in your day-to-day life, in your everyday relationships. Everyday relationships. If you want to hear some clarity, listen to that video Michi X did. And she spoke about a few situations that she's knowledgeable of in her family, and, a few things that happened to her. And in one situation, her being young and someone, violating her, and they referred to her as baby. And she said, or my lover, something like that. But whatever it was, he didn't have no business calling her that. He didn't have her permission to call her that. And it was inappropriate, right? But to this day, that's not something she ever want to hear from a guy because of that. That is something that can take you back to a mindset, that is not comfortable. It could be something as small as that. It could be something of the way someone smells, or a slight visual that you don't even realize triggers you in your subconscious. Okay? To be violated is deep. And it's something that has been happening since the beginning of time. And that's something that is more than unnecessary. More than unnecessary. More unnecessary than stealing tangible things. To acquire that said thing, or to acquire that money, that could be more of a challenge for people than actually getting any type of affectionate activities from another person. Because why? Because that's what one of the things we are naturally made to do. Love each other, care for each other, show affection. But what you're not supposed to do is hurt someone in the process of that, impose yourself on someone, cross boundaries that are morally and legally incorrect. Look at Henry Dinkins. We waiting on this verdict. I believe it's September the 15th. This dude had this girl's mama, because You can't convince me or anybody else that he couldn't mess with the mama when he wanted to. For some odd reason, look at how he looked. He had a whole woman at home. And he picked the child up out the bed and took her out that door. Right past that same woman that was with him. So that he could violently violate her and take her out this world. And he did this to a 5-year-old when he was 17. This is a sickness on another level. On another level. I believe that this sickness is one of the deepest, darkest, most heinous sicknesses that exist. You could kill someone for whatever reason. You could actually murder someone, because killing and murdering them, it's not necessarily the same thing. I might have to kill you, but if I decide I'm going to go murder you, that might be different. You can have serial killers who murder more than one person. But just because someone kills someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that they had an appetite for it. They had a mindset for it. They had an evil urging for it. There's all kinds of situations that could lead to you having to kill a person. But you can only be a sick and twisted individual to want to violate someone in this way, especially a child. As ugly as Polight is, as ugly as he is, it's too many people, way too many people on this earth that want to be him. As sinister as he clearly is and been exposed to be for years, it's too many people that want to be him and want to be with him. Isn't that something? Isn't that interesting how the world works? Henry Dinkins, he looked like and he got the IQ of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just, it's more of a turn off than his looks, actually. But he had women that wanted him and was with him willingly. You see how the world works? You know that saying, there's somebody for everybody? We all know that's true. We all know that's true. But it would take a sick and twisted mind with an evil soul and some demons embedded in them to make a choice to violate someone so that they can thrive off of it. That's a sickness that should never be tolerated under any circumstances. Those are the type of humans in existence that we should never allow to be amongst us. There should be a zero tolerance policy for this. And we done came up on a time to where we have realized that. It's got to change. We shouldn't accept nothing less than a zero tolerance policy. Okay? There are too many people with this type of sickness that will eliminate their victims. Having a zero tolerance policy doesn't necessarily put people at more risk to be eliminated if they've been violated. This happens. This happens. The condition that any surviving victims end up in, we damage people who walk among us, who have to live among us, and we have to have dealings with. We damage them for life, which in turn damages in some way nearly everyone that comes in contact with them. Their family, their children, their co-workers, somebody at the store. There are so many people walking around here who have been violated, and it has affected them and the way that they deal with people and the decisions that they make, whether they know it or not, whether they realize that that's what's causing that dysfunctional behavior. That's a toll we should not be willing to keep trying to afford to pay. Every human has a responsibility on this earth. And we're not doing it right. So things aren't going right. But when I tell you that we are in trouble, women are in trouble, we haven't necessarily been doing this feminism thing the right way. And I've never claimed to be or tried to be anything like a feminist. I don't take on any labels. But what I will tell you is this. In my nerdy life, I do nerdy things, right? So we had our documentary night. It was in person. Okay. We have a documentary group and we watch documentaries. We study them. We have in-depth conversations on them. And it consists of a lot of people, right? And we do them online and we do them in person. And we have, sometimes we have the people involved in the documentary come and join the session with us, right? Okay. We had our documentary night last night, and this was recorded. This is something I plan on start talking about some of these documentaries, because y'all need to watch some of this stuff. I'm telling you. Recorder was very good. It was about Marianne Stokes, a woman she's a black woman. She ended up marrying a white man. And she recorded TV 24 hours a day for 30 years. Now, you can imagine that that's deep, right? Okay. This led to, so when we watch our documentaries, we watch them. When we do them online, we watch them separately. We get together online and we break up into groups, and, we do group discussions, and we come back and we switch and like that. So we all get to share, with each other our insight and ideas about the whole documentary. When we do it in person, we all sit in a big old theater and we watch it together. Oh, we gonna see the Lake Lanier tonight, y'all. We got a special viewing on Lake Lanier. Y'all remember we talked about that? We're gonna definitely talk about that when I get through seeing it. But when we do our in-person documentaries, we sit and we watch them. We watch the documentary together, and then we break up into groups. And it'd be enough of us to be about, we put 5 in each group, and then we sit and we talk for 20 minutes, so we switch and things like that. Very insightful, very knowledgeable, very beneficial to life. Okay. While we were talking about this documentary last night, it also, it leads to other subjects. It leads to conversations about life and, our role in life and everything. And we were discussing things that she recorded and why she did it and what ended up happening from, her doing this. And one guy in one of my groups, He made a statement while we were on a particular conversation. And he said he does it for the life of him, and I'm paraphrasing, understand why women allow themselves to be treated the way that they are, dominated and dictated in this day and age. And when he said that, he was clearly bothered by it. All I know is he's married. His wife was there. He's an older gentleman, white guy. And I don't know anything about his family. He said daughters or anything like that. This is my first time actually doing an in-person documentary with this guy. He said that, and he meant it. And I looked at him and I said, okay, it's good to see a male feel that way. But this is a male saying this. This is a male saying this now. This is a male saying this. And there were some small conversation we had, after following that statement, about, rules that are put in place to like dictate what you can do with your body as a woman. That should not exist in this day and age, but look at how they were able to come back and mess with that. And it was allowed. And there's so much division amongst us that these people were allowed to implement controls over what a woman or a young lady can do with her body if she's impregnated. If she's impregnated. That should not even be possible to the degree that it is. Because yes, there got to be some kind of protection for life, or a woman can just, stab herself in the belly, or, just, we know the standard protection should be there. Hey, if you harm this baby without good cause, you going to jail. Just like it would be another human being, you're going to jail. Like walking, talking human being. That's rational. That makes sense. But these abortion laws, insane. And it just really helped push further my thinking as of late on just realism, the world, life, women, where we are in this world, the shit we put up with. And one thing that should not be tolerated is us not standing up for ourselves. Us allowing the nature of a monster to think he can just be a monster, and that's okay. It's not remotely okay. I listened to some of this video as Legendary Top Cat, shout out to the bro, played this court hearing. I listened to this woman talking to Polight. And it sounds to me, and I'm just waking up, but it sounds to me like she almost was not granted the chance to even have a impact statement. Like it had to be, like a side note, like, Your Honor, hello, she would like to say something. Because these males cut deals in the courtroom. They cut deals in the courtroom over the damages that was done to this young lady, her daughter. 14 years old. Polight is probably 50, 60 years old, but, it says he's younger. I don't know, 30s, 40s, I forgot. Polight. One of the ugliest popular people out there. In fact, for a male, even JJ from Good Times looked better than Polight, who he's, referred to sometimes. Shout out to Dr. Umar. The skinniest, funniest looking, ugliest dude in popularity. And the slimiest. No matter how slimy he is, no matter how many people he has done wrong and violated, took their money, their life savings, their inheritance, scammed and scammed and scammed when he claimed to want to help his people. He got a harem of women that aid him in his scamming. He got women's daughters that he's able to have access to and take advantage of. One of them having ran away from home to be with this monster. And we know this. We known this for years, right? People still call themselves looking up to him, adoring him, wanting to be around him, wanting to be like him. He's been seen plenty of times hanging out with Floyd Mayweather. There is no denying his evilness being scattered online. People coming out against him. And he's still walking around being a monster. Imagine the things we know about what he's done. And then you think about what he possibly has done that we didn't know about. We don't know about. That's because we allow there to be tolerance for monsters. We allow it. It's unacceptable. I don't see how any woman can walk around even semi-okay in a world that has such a high tolerance for any violator, any monster. Because I'm not going to just say males, because we know women do it too. Which is why I had to bring up who Michi brought up, Krishan Rock's nephew situation. He was violated by men too, but he named 5. I watched him name 5 women in his family, aunts of his, that repetitively violated him as a child and caused him to be subject to abuse and further violation from others. We know women do it too. Hence the movie Antoine Fisher. A very necessary movie. So I'm talking about monsters. Monsters. Whom a lot of times are created because they had these things happen to them. But oftentimes, males are monsters without even having anything happen to them first. Because this is a society that has praised this beastly nature of a monster. That this is a society that has praised males, because I almost said men, but males not respecting boundaries of a female, of a woman, of a child. This is a society that praises males being conquerors of someone else's body as if it's a piece of land or a car or, a company or, The same way that people have gone out there and went to other lands and killed and violated and raped and so that they can take. That nature has been tolerated towards somebody's body. And not only is it not punished correctly, monsters are protected. Monsters are catered to. Monsters are handed victims on a silver platter. Breasia Terrell was handed to Henry Dinkins on a silver platter by her own grandmother and mother and his girlfriend, who he could have had all three of those women at any time. You can't tell me no different. And that's just 3. We know there's more. But the monster in him wanted to violate a 10-year-old child and kill her. While we looked at the autopsy of this girl's body with bullets in her body, toes eaten off by wildlife, laying in a lake for almost a year while people look for her. And he's already out during the time he did this because he's not even registered like he should be as an offender. He's not even being kept up with. So every day that he goes around feeling like he is not as monitored as he should be, he's scheming and plotting on when he's going to be able to carry out his sick and sinister desires. He's setting his life up so to where he can do that. And we don't know how many victims he got out there, even if he just touched somebody. But what we do know is this guy has a long history of criminality. He hadn't just long got out of jail before he did this to Breasia. This guy was a dope head. He was a dope dealer. I read his criminal history. Riding on the wrong side of the highway, causing multiple tractor trailers and cars to crash. Just repeatedly going to jail. And this is after being a offender at 17. But they kept letting him back out. 17 and she was 5? No, you no good. You're a damaged goods. We don't allow you in our society. Yet he was allowed time and time again after he kept showing them, I am a danger. I'm no good. I'm a monster. And what do we get from it? We got a deceased little girl who we can't actually imagine what she went through. Because we don't know that level of sickness. This is why we study, right? This is why we learn. This is one of the reasons why this woman sat down and recorded TV for 30 years. This is why we have criminology courses, psychology courses, any study of human behavior. We're supposed to learn from it and then use that learning to our benefit. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're letting these monsters get away with what they're doing, knowing that they're a monster, knowing that this is going to happen again and it's going to be worse. We allow it. How many times has Polight possibly violated in the past? We know he has. We know about the little girl that he lied and told us was his daughter. Ended up being the daughter, the underage daughter of a woman he was previously with, who ended up, according to the story that's told, running away from her mom to be with him. So, we know he's a groomer. We know he's a groomer. We've seen more than enough parading and masquerading with females to know that Polight is a sick dude. And he objectifies females. He does not respect them. But he conned y'all by coming out saying the black woman is God. Then when he switched up and was all over white women, hoes, prostitutes, according to reports, he has been running women for financial gain in different ways. Okay? A lot of people were shocked, disappointed, said something about it, but you still didn't see the true monster in him. Then he was exposed for this little girl who we thought was his daughter the whole time was his lover. And y'all you still rock with him. You still like him. You still listen to him. You still promote him. You still want to be next to him. You still want to be like him. Floyd Mayweather still hangs with him. Now we have a 14-year-old girl who, unfortunately, her and her mother have become one of his victims due to their associations with him, who now are scarred for life, who had the courage to report him for his actions and see it through in court. And if I didn't know any better, I would think people are more into the fact that this dude got caught in his lies than they really are about what happened to this woman and her child, especially the child. As I'm listening to the punishments given to him, I must take this time to say again and stress again, this is not okay. But we, women, us, because I'm holding us responsible. We allow these guys to make these laws that gives them the freedom to continue to do this. We already got to deal with the protections of the victim amongst us. Who can you tell? Who's going to help you? Do they know so-and-so is not going to care? No one should have to be around their offender. No one should have to sit at the table with their offender. No one should be made to feel like this somehow was your fault. No one should have to hold that inside and then try to use their human brain to rationalize how this possibly could have happened to you. And it internally becomes somehow your fault or a stain on you. There's something wrong with you. Something. Or you're supposed to allow a male access to you when you don't. That's not what you want. There is no way that we should have any tolerance for this. No way. But we do. Now, this woman stated she didn't want to put her daughter through a trial, which I understand. Her and her daughter up against a monster in the courts, and not to mention the public. That's never been easy. A victim shouldn't even have to go through that just to try and get a harsher sentence. There needs to be a zero tolerance policy. There is nothing that anyone can say or do to make me think that there could be any reason or circumstance as to where we should give a violator a pass, a second chance. There's nothing you can say. In my opinion, if that's how you view it, you're just as bad as them. And you can sit in the same seat. Now, we know that Polight took this young lady. We know that he's a speaker, he's a fraud, he's a motor mouth, he has the, what people say, gift of gab. I don't see it. I never saw it in him. But somehow he has the power to persuade a lot of people very easily. So he knew this woman, and according to what she said in this courtroom, he told her that he was going to speak with her daughter about respecting her mom more. So apparently she was having problems with this little girl. She confided that in Polight. And her problems with this little girl was so much, honey, they have women, you better reach out. I don't know where they are, but I know here in Georgia, there are plenty of mentorship programs for women and young ladies. So I'm not sending, you cannot send your child, your teenage daughter off with no dude. Some random dude that you know. So he can try and talk to her? That shit don't make no sense. We are creating mindsets like this by allowing victimizations of many sorts to go on about in this world. We need healthy thinking people. What do you think it was that made Breage's mother and grandmother think it was remotely okay to allow that girl to go stay with this offender, this dude who's not even her dad, ain't even really been in these children's lives, to go stay at his house? And she really didn't even know where they were, anything about the situation. She just let him go. What do you think it was about Henry Dinkins' girlfriend that she laid in that home, in that 1-bedroom apartment, and at 3:00 in the morning watched this dude leave with that little girl, and then watched him return without her? And she sat right in court and said she didn't question him not one bit. These are the type of people that we create when we allow people to be victimized. And the offenders to continue to dwell among us and to be defended, and the victim not protected. You create people who further put society in danger. We have a responsibility to the children to make sure we're creating better people than this. We have a responsibility to make sure that we have people amongst us that will protect children, not serve them up. Polight shouldn't be on these streets. That's unacceptable. There is nothing about this dude that says he should be on the streets, that says he's safe around anyone ever, anytime. This guy took a young girl. First chance he got. Look, Henry, first chance he got. First chance he got. Soon as she was handed to him, he carried out his sick desires. That's a monster. That's damaged goods. Shania Davis, 5 years old. Her mama handed her over to pay a $200 drug debt. We saw this man on camera carrying this little girl into a hotel room, and she didn't come out alive. We can only sit here and imagine what these young ladies went through, and we still probably ain't even coming close. But Polight's victim lived, and what she told wasn't good. And that's probably not, we probably don't know all of it, but that wasn't good. Can you just imagine someone who this person know they about to kill? You can do whatever you want to do. Can you imagine the damage to a child when a grown man is forcing himself on her? I think even some of us probably imagine them being gentle, because it's a child. I really do, because you gotta. I know y'all finding ways to justify the thing. This ugly monster. I don't even want to look at his face. Drugged this girl and forced himself on her. And brought her to her mama shaken and drugged. Bruised. He took her back to her mama just like that and walked away. This is the society that we have created and we tolerate. Because if he'd have brought my child back to me like that, as soon as he'd have got to stuttering, he would have got shots to the dome. If he'd have brought my child back to me like that, and he didn't even start with, I took care of that dude, he not walking away. Not alive. But he's not going to have my child, though. And I'm a victim who wasn't protected, of course. But that didn't create someone who thinks that I shouldn't protect others, or that I should violate others as well. However, it does create that type of mentality in a lot of people who are victimized. How do you think we keep getting all these victims? You think all children who are violated are stolen, caught off guard, taken from schoolyards, snatched out of their bedrooms like JonBenet Ramsey? No. Most of them the violators are allowed access to them, and they're allowed to walk away after, and they're allowed to come back. Polight is going to be put back out here on these streets, and it's going to be a lot of people that are still going to glorify him and deal with him. That's not okay. That needs to change. If you're still listening, I don't care about the dramatization of this story. I'm talking about this is not okay, and this needs to change. I only want to live in a world where there is zero tolerance for a violator, for a monster. Zero tolerance. I want to accept nothing less. When I say zero tolerance, I mean you are deemed no more good as a human being. See, we got it twisted out here. You are no more good as a human being if you violate another person, if you violate another child. You don't get another chance to come out here and do it again. There is no possibility of a chance. This should be treated no less than murder and premeditated. You don't just accidentally or all of a sudden decide that for whatever reason, you don't know what jumped on you, that you're going to do this to somebody. This is a sickness within you that we can't cure. And we don't have the luxury of taking a chance of you not doing this again. We don't have that luxury. We'd paid the cost time and time again. We're paying it every single day. And a violator doesn't just affect one person. The violator affects the entire world. Any victim that hears of another victim, any victim that ends up having to hurt for another person who wasn't protected, anybody in society who comes in contact with someone who is damaged because of it. All of these people that somehow excuse and condone this type of behavior makes every child in this world vulnerable, not safe. We are okay living in such an unsafe world that it's appalling. Y'all males better find you some reprogramming programs real quick. And if you don't have them, you better create them. You better create them so that you can start teaching each other differently. Because your mindset is heavily flawed. You don't own nobody. You're not owed anything, especially access to another person's body for your sickness and your pleasure. That's a strong, hard no. Now, if you want to live in a world where you can get your mess cut off, where you can get executed, where you can spend the rest of your life behind bars, then I don't mind fighting for that until the day I die. Because that's the only thing that's acceptable in my eyes. There is no rehabilitation for a monster like that. We've seen this time and time again. Chrisean Rock's nephew who came out about his abuse, his mother was in prison at the time this happened to him. Yet she says when she was younger, the violator's biological father abused her. Can you imagine what that created? How you think the other ones became violators? These are girls of his. How you think? Where do you think they got that from? And you watch this woman talk, and you watch him talk, and you know that they're damaged because our tolerance for this is so high. Protections are so high. Well, we're done. We don't want those type of monsters amongst us. We don't. There's no justify it. You can't. You letting a monster back out on the street so he can continue to be a monster. And even if it was even possible for to believe that this person will not do it again, they already done it. One time is more than enough. This girl is never going to be able to undo what happened to her. And we can only hope that we get a decent adult out of this. And as good of a person as she tried to be, as normal of a person she tried to be, she's never going to be 100% okay. That is a lifetime of some kind of torture, whether you even consciously realize it or not. Barely just getting started to even consider a boy. But this is the way she got to look at males now. Because a monster. Do y'all know what a monster is? I think they're so common that we don't understand what they are. Now, Top Cats did way too much commentary in this throughout the times that they're having the actual hearing, in my opinion. No pausing to speak. So this is what it is. But I guess, I don't know, maybe he excited because Polight getting called out. I don't know. But here it is.
Issues with you and Dame is how you came in me and you don't know me. Well, brother, real talk. Since you say that, well, come on up. I thought you was a troll. You heard me say that earlier before you brought up one of your black Pan-African leaders. We don't give a fuck about a Polight over here. We Indian. We'll put arrows all in that motherfucker. And any other one of them niggas over there. I thought you was a troll account. If you want to talk about it, real talk, I dropped the link in the chat. If you're an Indian, I'll take back everything I said. Really? If you're one of them and you don't hit the link, fuck it. You want to rock? We can rock. You want to rock? Yeah. Rich and all the women over there ugly. Big old fat black motherfuckers. Oh, yeah, I ain't none of them hoes.
I'm not even going to say nothing because I don't know what they doing. I don't know what this is about. But that if you one of them or if you're an Indian, that part didn't sit too well with me. But I don't know what this conversation is about. So, but I will say this. I'm not even going to leave nothing unturned. If this person is defending Polight, there's no defense. There should be nothing else that can make this person acceptable defending Polight. I'm going to say that. Zero tolerance is all that we got. Okay? If you are a creep, You better not let me know it. Okay? That's all I'm saying. You better not let me know it. You best believe the mission is loud and clear. Zero tolerance.
There's nothing sexy about them. Them whole old and rotten raisins. Pussy look like a rotten raisin. A California rotten raisin. Yeah, prune juice coming out that pussy. That ain't
Okay, what?
pussy juice.
Hold on, what we talking about? Can we get to I thought we was at the court hearing because
Likes in here, man.
Talkat, what you doing over there? Where's this long pause for?
Probation as a condition of probation. The
7 years.
10 years. 10 years for probation. The defendant will complete the MDSO program. The defendant will not be allowed to have unsupervised.
So he get 10 years of papers?
The defendant will have specific terms regarding where he may work and the ability to wear a uniform.
Oh, he got to check in. He got to register.
Additional terms of restitution, of which $5,000 has been agreed to be paid upfront within 24 hours, mailed to the to the victim. And additional restitution to be paid out on a monthly basis.
So far, I've heard $5,000 need to be paid. This dude can work. First of all, he don't know what that is. But he's all these rights. $5,000. First of all, this dude. I was about to say he got money, but we don't know where he got it. I know he took a lot of money, but that don't mean he has it. You see what we've done? This is not enough. I'm going to be like Smokey Mama. We got to make it enough. This is not enough.
Once he is out of custody, and that monthly amount is highlighted in the written terms of proceeding. Additionally, there will be a stay-away order from victim TS and her mother, which is also mentioned in the plea agreement.
So he getting 10 years of papers?
The total amount of the restitution. The total amount of restitution is $25,000.
$25,000.
That's nothing.
So what he paying for? He got to pay $5,000.
That's nothing. That's nothing. He got to mail or send to them $5,000. What can this girl do with $5,000? That get therapy a couple of times? He should be made to pay her for the rest of his life from his jail pay. Okay? We need Polight bent over in the showers with the slippery soap burning his butthole. That's what we need.
Do he get 7 years or a choice to take 10 years probation, or is he getting both? How the hell you getting probation and parole?
Then you were going to be
Cats, are you listening to the thing? Because you asking your audience. Are you listening? Because the woman talking, are you listening? I'm just curious.
Doing a plea of guilty to the 2 counts of aggravated child abuse and 1 count of deliberate contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You will be adjudicated guilty, which is a criminal conviction on your record. You also understand, sir, that by entering into this plea, that it may subject you to involuntary civil commitment proceedings set forth in Florida statutes 394.910 through 394.931. Do you understand everything that I've said thus far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to also advise you, sir, that you are going to be sentenced to 7 years in state prison to be followed by 10 years of reporting probation. In addition to any of these special conditions of probation,
yes.
You will also participate in and successfully complete a mentally disordered sex offender treatment.
Oh, that they got a sex offender treatment class. Hell no.
Eligible. Okay, you may, according to the state, you may be eligible for early termination if all of the conditions of your probation have been completed, that you have had no violations of your probation, and that you have not been arrested for any other criminal offense. Is that correct? To clarify, the terms stated in 5 is...
I'm not, I don't know why you clapping, darling. Yeah. Talkcast my dude, y'all. But, this is not good. This is not enough, cats. This ain't enough. He he told the guy told him he has to complete a class. But let's be clear, and I haven't looked at his paperwork. I'm just listening. He didn't find him guilty of an actual sex charge. So he don't even have to register as an offender, from what I can hear. He's taken on lesser charges. But y'all remember Polight came out here yelling on the camera and stuff, looking funky and ugly, talking about he gonna sue people because he ain't taking no plea deal. Well, he used technical words and y'all made it a big deal. I have not, nor have I ever. First of all, I don't even understand why y'all didn't recognize that he talking stupid for somebody who's supposed to be so smart to y'all. Pled guilty to no offender violation or whatever he said. But what I got stuck on was, I have not, nor have I ever. Polight specifically said those words. And y'all had this online back and forth debate or whatever y'all was doing to try and decide whether or not he did or did not or will not. When it's clear as day, the court is saying that there is a plea hearing upcoming. And all Polight told y'all was, I have not, nor have I ever. Well, we know, because we not in the future yet. But we know you're about to. And you and your lawyer arranged it. That's all. It didn't even need no more talk after that. But that should have told y'all that he was being deceptive. Extremely deceptive. But for whatever reason, it didn't. To a lot of people. This is why we got to go with zero tolerance. Because that don't make no doggone sense.
Provision on early termination. However, there is a requirement that any modification to this agreement be agreed by the state and the court. Okay. All right, sir. Now, with respect to this plea agreement, I have on each page, next to defendant's initials, MN. Did you, in fact, affix those initials to each page?
I did.
And have you
did
each and every component?
Did you fuck the baby?
Going through page
Did you fuck the baby, sir? I have. I know you did. You're guilty.
Read the above message.
The MN is for his name, Michael Noak. I see y'all using Polight. When I put in Michael Noak trial, I only get old videos. Y'all only use his name back then, but for some reason y'all didn't use his name now. You only using Brother Polight, and that's weird because I will put both. Okay, we need it attached to both. Why not? Why not? And his daughter, he got 2 daughters. He don't have no sons. He got 2 daughters. This sick son of a ugly. Hey, what's his wife's name? I done forgot her name because she's so unimportant. But how you feel, chick? Your man has been exposed. You haven't been exposed, but yes, you have. Yes, you have. Because this your dude. This your man's, right? Yeah. You better know we know it. You understand? You better know we know it.
In terms of this plea agreement, and having been advised by my counsel, David Terrace, I, Michael Noak, freely and voluntarily enter into this plea agreement and agree to abide by all terms and conditions of this plea agreement, and agree that failure to comply with any terms or conditions within this agreement constitutes a violation of probation and subjects me to be sentenced to the statutory maximum penalties provided by law for the crimes for which I am pleading guilty.
17 piece.
Over the name Michael Noak. Is that in fact your signature, sir?
Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir.
And I am now going to place my signature on this plea agreement, in that I am now going to be ratifying this plea agreement as negotiated between the state of Florida and your attorney. Has anybody, including your...
He said he have not know has he ever. Well, we know, but you have now.
Lawyer told you anything differently than what I just
said. Words say 17. What time you pleading that? It's a bad ass plea, huh? 17.
Is anybody forcing, threatening,
murder case plea? Take that on the robbery or murder case.
Citizen, the entry of this plea will have negative immigration consequences, including deportation and removal. Understand. You had the right, sir, to have gone to a jury trial where your lawyer had the ability to compel the attendance of witnesses on your behalf, the ability to confront and cross-examine the witnesses and evidence against you. You had the right to testify just like any other witness or remain silent. and your silence could not have been used against you if you went to a jury trial. You also have the right to appeal any mistakes that I would have made during the course of the trial, and the right to hold the
say, bro, that's a stretch.
Reasonable doubt. Do you understand, sir, that by entering into
he
this
really won? He could have got
shit.
He got 17. That's still
a jury trial.
I do.
Have you discussed this plea with your lawyer?
Yes.
Has he answered all of your questions?
Absolutely.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's services and advice?
Definitely.
Did the state provide all the discovery in your possession to the defense?
He said he's satisfied with his lawyer's services and advice. This is Polight. Polight, the one who kept coming out here telling y'all or trying to make y'all think that he's telling y'all that he didn't do it. Okay? Y'all interpreted that because that's what you wanted to interpret. And he knew you would. That's why he said it. He worded it the way he did. Clear and uncut fraud, liar, scammer, and clearly guilty. And yet and still, he's allowed. He can come on here more than one time and talk that dumb talk. And so many, because he know that's just where we at in this world. The condoning of monsters is sickening. Sickening. If he is taking a public plea deal of this magnitude, which is very small in comparison to what he did. If he's taking this public plea deal, can you imagine what charges he actually know that he was about to be getting, that he's trying to avoid? AKA guilty of all accusations. All of them. And he know he guilty. But yet and still he is taking an agreement of a lesser charge because for one, he know that young lady and her mom do not want to have to sit there and be cross-examined and questioned and intimidated as a victim and as a young lady. He know good and well her mom don't want to have to go through that. And he don't want to have to go through that because you're going to hear the gory details as if you need to. You already know. You've already heard the descriptions of what he's done.
Yes. Did the defense review all of the discovery in your possession with your client? Yes, Your Honor. And do both sides know of any physical evidence containing DNA that would exonerate the defendant?
No.
And do both sides stipulate to a factual basis for this plea?
Yes.
And the court has reviewed the arrest affidavit, makes a finding that there is a factual basis for the plea. Mr. Noak, are there any witnesses or is there any evidence that you wanted your lawyer to investigate or me to receive before entering into this plea?
No.
All right. The court finds that the defendant understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Counsel, do you waive PSI?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Noak, you do understand, as I mentioned to you before, that the state, as they had articulated earlier, you may be eligible for early termination as long as certain conditions are met. That means no violations. You've done everything that you were supposed to do. You've not been arrested for any criminal offense, and the state is in agreement with it as well as the court's ratification. On the other hand, sir, if you violate any terms and conditions of this probation, and that includes getting arrested for any other criminal offense, then you could be subject to the maximum period of time in prison, which, by my calculations, is 61 years state prison. You do understand that?
Yeah.
And knowing all of this, do you still wish to enter into this plea?
Yes.
All right. The court finds the defendant, as I mentioned before, understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant is knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Is there anything further as it relates to Mr. Noak? I do have on the Zoom that the victim's mother wanted to address the court.
Correct. And nothing more from the state except to let Your Honor know if you can unmute the victim's mother. And she will be listed as victim Noak in the Zoom. And she is requesting, pursuant to Marcy's law, that her identity remain anonymous. So for that reason, she'll not be stating her name, but she will be making a statement regarding this.
Where would it
It should say victim, and then in parentheses, Noak, sorry. You see when it says victim Noak?
Okay, yes, 1 second. All right, you may unmute, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, so what I'd like you to do is, well, you don't want to give your name, so at this point, just go ahead and you can give us an impact statement. Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
that's cold, fight world.
Michael Noak.
It's tough.
This is the first time I have spoken publicly about what you've done to my daughter and I.
Oh,
I have gracefully remained silent the last 2.5 years.
Jesus!
2.5 years of pain, shock, disbelief, PTSD, constant nightmares, and daily triggers.
Jesus!
Trying to help my daughter heal when I'm not even healed myself.
Cats.
What you have done to my daughter.
Sir, now this part I don't like. Okay, I know it's your channel and everything. And, bro, while this woman is speaking, can you pause next time, please?
Myself and my entire family is inexcusable. You hurt us all. You made me believe that you were such a great man.
Jesus!
You did no wrong. You made me fully trust you, and for that, my daughter trusted you too. But the truth is, you're a monster.
You're a monster!
A demon.
You're a demon!
The very first time that I allowed you to be alone with my daughter, the very first time you couldn't even help yourself.
Damn, bro, that was your first time?
You told me you were going to be right back. We're going downstairs. We're going to grab food and take vacation pictures.
The fuck?
You told me that you wanted to have a one-on-one talk with her about loving and respecting me as a great mother that I was. And I actually believed you. I believed that you were going to bring her right back. I thought you were
Make a bill, that's cold.
Conversation with her that you promised me.
Sharice!
Her and I both.
Reese!
Do y'all hear this? I'm not even. This woman says she thought Polight was going to take her daughter, have a fatherly type talk with her, and bring her right back. Listen, I don't care what nobody say. This has got to change. This has got to change. Zero tolerance. You see what we're creating? How is it possible that this woman fixed her brain to say, I'm going to let this dude take my daughter? Have an intelligent, safe, fatherly type conversation with her and bring her right back to me. Safe. In the same condition she returned, or better. I don't know, with a new Maserati or what did she thought she was going to go on a shopping spree?
For a grown man to violate a child who trusted him, you should be ashamed of yourself.
You should be ashamed, you monster!
You plotted on me and my little girl. The entire time you knew what you planned to do. Isolate, intoxicate, then violate.
Listen, I think this is the perfect video to use. Okay? I think this is the perfect commentator's video to use to talk about this. Okay?
Baby, shame on you.
Shame!
I trusted you to bring her right back. You were supposed to bring her back the same way that you took her.
Damn, Polight.
Instead, you drugged her and took advantage of her.
You drugged her. Good.
Alcohol down her throat.
Y'all get...
You then forced her to see things that no child should ever have to see.
Cuz, you tripping.
You forced her to feel things that no child should have to feel.
I can't even.
Man,
I'm just pacing listening to this. There's nothing that this woman can do to undo what has happened. There's nothing she can do to change her past perceptions of what is a good idea and not send her daughter off. I don't know what we should know. We should know what safe is and what okay is and not okay is. We should know what would be appropriate mentorship and help for our life. There's no way that this woman should have thought that her best option was to have Polight, of all people, come up to her and get her daughter and take her away.
don't you, Polight?
You accept violence that no child should ever have to endure. You force drugs in her that no human should ever even ingest.
Dope the baby up.
She's my child. My baby. How could you? How could you? You could have killed her with all the drugs that we found in her system.
Damn.
Now, did you hear what she said? She said that this young lady was forced to take drugs that no human should ingest. Okay, I don't know what he gave her. But then when she says she could have died, with the amount, and y'all want to be okay with him being out on the streets? He getting such a light. I don't care if it's a plea deal. He shouldn't even be in a position to be able to make a deal like this.
The master plan was mapped out perfectly, huh? You thought I'd be dumb enough to believe you over my child. And you thought that money would blind me.
Whoa.
You thought I was going to be so blinded that I wouldn't notice when you returned.
Of course he would think that. It got him that far. That's far. You were under the mindset that it was okay for your daughter to go with him. That's huge. It gave him the opportunity to be the monster that he is. Of course he thought that he was going to get away with it.
Her with bruises all over her body and her mouth busted, uncontrollably shaking. Absolutely not. And although you executed your plan and you got what you wanted those couple of hours, you actually failed.
I hear Hispanic. Can you imagine her opening the door and seeing her daughter bruised and shaking? And Polight standing there looking ugly and dumb?
Because look where you're at right now. You have created a lifetime of trauma for my daughter and I. Before you, we never knew evil existed. You brought so much evil into our lives that early morning. And I'll never forget. I called you like 50 times and you wouldn't answer me.
Damn.
I called her too, but you took her phone. You drugged my baby. You gave her no way to seek help. You left me no way to contact her or even know where she was. I get physically sick now whenever I'm away from my daughter because of you. Something as simple as her going to school, I'm in panic mode. Because I'm scared when she comes back, she's going to be hurt all over again. I constantly have flashbacks of that night.
If this woman knew her daughter was with a grown man and she called him over 50 times and he didn't answer, why she didn't call the police?
And what she lives with is not okay. She feels uncomfortable around people and will live with this forever, and this is not fair to her. She never deserved this. Shame on you for forcing evil on our youth. And you know, for a year, I questioned, how could you even do this to us? Her and I did nothing wrong to you. We trusted you. I've moved across the country because I believed everything that you told me.
Wow.
But it was pure manipulation I see now. All you do is specialize in selling false dreams. How can you do this to an innocent child and mother who simply trusted you? We did nothing wrong. But you know what? I'm done breaking my head trying to question or figure out how you could do such a thing. It's so simple to me now. You're just a sick man. A man you can have a plethora of women, but you secretly prefer.
He is not no man.
To have a child.
Damn.
It's so clear now. I will never be able to fully trust another person doing the betrayal that you've shown me. And for that, I was not willing to trust 6 strangers and go to trial. Nor was I going to put my daughter through an additional trauma. This plea was in our best interest. You and I both know the evidence is extremely substantial. But even with that, I refuse to have my child be tormented when she's done nothing wrong. All she holds is the truth. And I will say this. Although you were so worried about being labeled a sex offender, you did us a huge favor by admitting to guilt, period. So for that, I thank you. I truly thank you. Yes, mitigation took place, and I allowed it as long as it meant you going to prison and you getting true help. Because
What if he don't even serve time? He don't have to register.
true help means no more victims. The fact that your only non-negotiable was to accept the sex crime shows exactly the type of man that you are. You know what you did in that hotel room. I know what you did, and my daughter knows what you did. DNA doesn't lie. There's no reason why your DNA should have been found on my baby. And yes, I satisfied your bogus request to not be labeled a sex offender, but it doesn't take away from who you truly are. I wasn't going to waste any time going back and forth with you over a label. God will judge you for exactly the person he knows you to be, a sexual predator. So rest assured, jail time equals jail time. And I pray that during your 10 years of sex offender probation, you actually receive the treatment that you need, and it helps heal your sick mind and get the thoughts of being with children out of it. All you care about is your pretend image.
That's not possible. She hope that happens after he done already violated her daughter. That's a lot of hoping.
But I know exactly who you are now.
Yeah, he gotta take a class.
All your evil acts in secret. You're so self-centered. That's why the last time I saw you on February 27, 2021, you fought me. You tried to hold me hostage from taking my daughter to the hospital. I'll never forget that cowardly look in your eyes. I'll never forget it. You were so scared. You were so scared because you realized you messed with the wrong one.
Wow. He tried to hold her hostage and keep her from taking her daughter to the hospital? And he gonna get let back out on the streets?
Your last words to me. You held me and said, please don't go. You're gonna ruin my career. Well, today, September 6th, 2023, my last words to you are, I hope the next 17 years of your life, you're reminded of the disgusting, terrifying, unforgettable act that you've done to my innocent daughter. Shame on you. And although you've
call him a bitch.
amount of trauma for myself and my daughter, we will always be superior to you, because a successful, honest career is something that you can never, ever have. We will both continue to stand against violence. My daughter will continue to persevere and be bright and intelligent and courageous young woman that she is. So, Michael Noak, I hope you enjoy prison, and God bless you.
Damn. Call him a bitch, sister.
Thank you for your courage.
Call him a...
After she been through all that, you're hoping that she ends up being all that she just said?
A low-down, dirty, nasty
to you and your daughter.
bitch.
All right.
Cats, you gotta pause when you want to speak so that there's not more than one person talking at the same time.
Defendant will be remanded to the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
I think say them gang leaders gonna pay out the guard good money to get his ass.
He's giving credit time, whatever he's gotten in.
Salute to the Lieutenant Drew Titan in the building.
All right. Thank you.
Damn, Polight. He really won with that 7 years, man.
Yep.
7 years, that's it? 10-year papers?
All right. Barbara's Alvin. Where's she? Alvin? Huh? Okay. Let him know we're ready to go.
Let them know we're ready to rock out.
Go. Now, when you're ready. I will go off the record 5 minutes.
Hey, the link is in the chat, man. If anybody has something they want to drop, the link is in the chat. This is a sad day today in the Pan-African Black Power movement. The community. I see a lot of people blaming Sha over in their chat. But honestly, that's an L for the community. He was one of you guys.
Yep.
He was y'all champion.
Yep.
He was y'all leader. Y'all believed in him.
Knowing who he was.
Some cold shit, man.
It is.
We got to go.